What will be the impact of President Trump's 25% tariffs on any country buying oil from Venezuela? Well, joining me to discuss these developments is George Carrillo, co-founder and CEO of the Hispanic Construction Council. George Carrillo, thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, President Trump on Monday just announced that any country who supports or buys Venezuelan oil or gas will have it hit with a 25% tariff starting April 2nd. What is President Trump trying to target here?
I think President Trump is trying to target actually be a leader of the free world and putting pressure on Venezuela to have the appropriate elections, have free elections. The last elections were very polarized. We don't really know who really won. Both sides say they won, but yet there's just a lot of persecution that's going on in that country. And they are sending, mass immigrants over here to the United States, and we're trying to get some of those criminals out of our country.
Right, a lot of them are Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang, now terrorist group. But going into Venezuela, who's their biggest trading partner when it comes to oil, and how will the tariff affect them?
Well, one, we're a big partner of that. We account for about 7% of their GDP when it comes to oil. It's approximately about $8 billion. But we're also looking at Brazil. Spain is a big trading partner, Turkey, and of course China.
We already have tariffs on them. Now we're putting tariffs through Venezuelan imports. How will that further impact China?
I think it's going to further impact the United States more than it is going to be with China. I think China is going to do what China always does, which is they have their own agenda. But with the cost of goods coming to us, especially in the construction industry, we're definitely going to see a large uptake in those products that we currently get from China.
Mm-hmm. Now, imposing tariffs on buyers of Venezuelan oil could force price discounts. What effect would that have on Venezuela, and how does it compare to sanctions that Trump imposed during his first term?
Well, I think that what hurts more, and I think because we're this economic leader in the world, I believe that the Trump administration believes if we impose tariffs and impose these penalties on other countries, that it's going to hurt more than the previous sanctions that we put on the country. And I think that there's good logic behind that, but we have to be very careful because it's going to be the American consumer that's going to end up paying for that. So if China and other partners of Venezuela don't change their behavior, then this might backfire on us.
But in the long run, the Trump administration says that tariffs will benefit American manufacturing, but we're speaking offline. You said that was going to take some time.
It is going to take some time. I mean, you're talking about big production. You have to be able, just think about it from mining when we think about steel. That infrastructure takes about 5 to 7 years to be able to create. And then you need to have and develop the workforce. So we have some years to go before that actually happens. I support the president in creating manufacturing jobs here in the United States. But we're going, I think, about it at a very steep price. These tariffs can be imposed, but it can be sort of this gradual uptick over the years. But he's going at it very hard right now and making it very pricey for consumers. How long can the American people sustain high prices over the next 5 to 7 years before we see manufacturing actually that we're more self-sufficient here?
And the Trump administration also extended the deadline for Chevron to wind down its operations in Venezuela. Does that take away the pressure on Chevron?
I think it takes away a little bit of the pressure. They're going to need to hurry up. I think the president will definitely impose harsh penalties if they don't get out. And the president definitely, he's said it from day one, dig, baby, dig here in the United States. So I think it's going to put more pressure on Chevron to get their production up and running and produce more oil here domestically.
He said that, tariffs seem to be a negotiating tool, and maybe he's adding more pressure on Venezuela. Do you see that as going hand in hand with them deporting the Venezuelan migrants back to Venezuela?
I think so. I think there's something that the president is trying to negotiate here that we may not be aware of. But I think that it's a very slippery slope because in tariffs, it's a form of economic punishment. And right now, the way the administration is doing that, they're doing that across the board and hitting our neighboring countries where I believe in a free trade agreement to bring prices and keep them down. But I think that with his approach right now, we're creating more enemies than we are friends. And so I do think that we need to have better foreign relations especially with our neighbors and with our partners abroad, especially with the UK. And we just, again, I support the president and what he's trying to do, but it's the implementation strategy that I have a hard time with.
George Carrillo.